Hey everyone, Magic Man Scott 40K here. Today I'll be talking about Batman Arkham Knight. I'm going to do a review. I just finished the game last night and then I quit, went to bed, and I thought I'd do a video on it. Want to talk about it. So I'm a big fan of the Batman Arkham games. They are really good and I have a soft spot for them. I hold them very dear to me. So long story short, would I recommend Batman Arkham Knight? Yeah. Right now it's like dirt cheap and you get a lot of bang for your buck. And I do think it's worth it. But the reason I wanted to make this video was not to recommend it. This game has a lot of problems. So many problems. And that's what I want to talk about. Now, this might turn into like a rant video, because I do think this game has more problems than good things. Now, according to the game itself, I have 110% of the game done. And I didn't do everything, because that's going to take forever. So there's bad guys with names, like the supervillains. I did about half of them. I have 8 supervillains finished. The other 8 are running around causing trouble. And I think I'm going to play the game again and try to get the other 8 supervillains done. Unless it's a huge hassle, then I'm not going to do it. Oh yeah, I'm not going to show you guys gameplay because my computer can barely handle it can barely handle recording anything. So I bought a gaming computer and it really struggles to record anything. When I record, you can probably hear how loud it is. It gets incredibly loud. So I'm not gonna risk showing you gameplay. I can show you the trailer. That should be fine if you guys want to see the game trailer. So Batman Arkham Knight, I'll try to make the review short. Yes, I recommend it. It has a lot of action. There's a lot of good moments in it. There's a lot of fantastic moments. But there's also so many problems. I have so many problems with this game. And because it has so many problems, I actually think this might be the worst Batman game. Now, when it comes to stuff you can do, this is the best one. It has a million things you can do. So you definitely get your bang for your buck. But when it comes to great moments, I think the other games have better moments. It's more, I think start to end, it's a better experience. So Batman Arkham Knight to me is a roller coaster of good and bad, while the other games are just straight up like good, and I have no issues with them. So that's basically my take on Batman Arkham Knight. Now, it did add car combat to the game, and I think the car combat is fine, but it doesn't really add anything. The car combat is perfectly fine, but it doesn't really change the story at all. It doesn't affect anyone, and the car combat doesn't really feel very Batman to me. I didn't buy the game to blow up stuff. Like, that's not, when you look at the store, you don't think, oh, Batman's gonna blow up the city or blow up this car over here. That's not why I bought the game. I didn't buy the game for the car. Now, when I was young, I beat this game on PlayStation 3, and I thought the car was awesome back when I was like super young. Now that I'm older, I know that the car is actually kind of lame. So to me, I think this might actually be the worst Batman game when it comes to like fun per hour, but you do have a lot of hours. I do think this is probably the longest Batman game. I would have to check. So I got 23 hours on this one and 10 hours on this one. And I beat Origins twice. So yeah, by the time I beat Arkham Knight once, I beat this game twice. If you guys want to know how I really feel, I actually think Origins is the best one. I think this is actually the best Batman game. That's how I feel. But it's clearly the shortest one, right? It's pretty short. But I do think from this game here is actually fun start to finish. And it was so fun I beat it twice. I do think Batman Origins has probably the worst story. It's a terrible story. But when it comes to actually fun, this is the most fun game, I feel. Arkham Asylum, I think, still holds up today. And I think this game is actually excellent. And I would even say Arkham Asylum was ahead of its time. I really do think Arkham Asylum was ahead of its time. And it's still excellent even now. So I think this game holds up. I'm not going to talk about Arkham City because I feel like that's the black sheep of the games. Arkham City is the shortest one. There's no like extra content to screw around with. Arkham City is just like a black sheep of a game, I feel. It really does not add anything new. It does not add anything really. So to me, Arkham City is a nothing game. I don't know what's worse, a nothing game that's really short, or Arkham Knight, which is supposed to be this grand finale, and it's really, to me, it's a letdown. Now there is good moments in Arkham Knight. It's not the worst game ever, but I'm very disappointed by how, so all these Arkham Knight games have issues. They have some combat issues, and at the very last game, these combat issues are still there. They were never fixed from the sorry. Let me start over. So there's combat issues in the Batman games, and from start to finish, they never fixed it, which I feel is, I'm gonna be honest with you, Batman Arkham Knight feels very sloppy at times. Extremely sloppy. Oh yeah, I want to talk about the achievements real quick. So the achievements prove that I beat the game. I have 110% completion. I didn't do everything because it would take forever. And one thing I want to talk about is this game gives you achievements like candy. Anytime you do anything, like watch a cutscene, if you walk across the street, if you get inside the car, if you do actually anything, you get a trophy. And it becomes very annoying after a while. If you watch like a cutscene, if you press one button, you get a trophy. You get a trophy for actually anything. Now this comes to my next point. I think Arkham Knight might be the easiest in the series. I don't know if this is true or not, but if you guys want to know how I feel, this might be the easiest game. Now Arkham Asylum really only has like 2 or 3 villains you can fight, and the rest are small fry nobodies. But the small fry nobodies I actually had a really hard time taking down. So even though there's only like 3 bad guys you can fight with names, the small time nobodies gave me a really hard time, and I died to them a lot. In Arkham Knight, what's funny about Arkham Knight is the super villains were much easier to fight. They were so much easier than the actual like henchmen. And I don't know how to feel about that. I don't know how I feel about a game where the henchmen are just easier than the supervillain. So this game has a lot wrong with it. One thing I want to really talk about, I'm not a fan of the ending. I think the story was fine until the ending. The ending was just garbage, and it's not the true ending. There's the ending, and then there's a true ending, and to me, the ending is kind of trash. So to me, I think all the stories are not that great. Origins had a pretty bad story. Arkham Knight had a kind of a bad story. Arkham Asylum had a decent story. Arkham Asylum might have the best story out of all of them. But yeah, I just really was not. I was very let down by the ending of the game. After putting, you can see there, I put like 30 hours into the game. After 30 hours, I got a terrible ending. So I don't feel great right now. Alright, I'll show you guys the store pictures so you don't get bored. Let's see what the store pictures are. Oh yeah, another thing about Arkham Knight, it has a ton of DLC. It has pages and pages of DLC, and they're all kind of terrible. You think spending extra money on the game, you would get better stuff, but this game's DLC, I would say, is actually kind of garbage. Now, Arkham Asylum, they let you play as Joker for a bit, and that was a lot of fun. So, I don't know, maybe Arkham Asylum is actually the best Batman game. If you play the first Batman game, it really does hold up. It's really good. Show you some pictures here. So yeah, here's the car combat. The car combat is whatever. I didn't really have any good or bad things about it. It really was just whatever. It was alright. Oh yeah, one more problem I have with Arkham Knight is anytime there's a city threat, a life, someone's gonna kill you, someone's gonna blow up the city. Anytime there's this big, huge threat, oh no, the world's gonna blow up. The answer, you'll find the answer in like 2 minutes, which I found extremely annoying. Oh, here's this bomb that'll kill everyone. Well, here's the answer in 2 minutes. In 2 minutes, they shut the bomb off, and it's so anticlimactic. It's such a letdown. Now, normally when there's a bomb that destroys a city, that takes hours to take care of, right? Like if you remember the second Batman movie, with no, I guess it was the third. If you watch the third Batman movie, there's this bomb, and they spend the entire movie trying to figure out how to turn the bomb off. In this game, there's a bomb that will destroy the city, and they turn it off in like 2 minutes. So I think honestly they should watch the movies again. It really should be a build-up of events. There should be this long build-up of the bomb, and then there should be this long like turning off process. But in the game, it's like 2 seconds. The bomb shows up, the bomb's gone. So to me that's very anticlimactic. These soldiers here were pretty fun to fight. These guys were just trained mercenaries, so I didn't find them interesting. They're just trained like soldiers, basically. So not really. I would say they're not really scary. They're not like, let's say cannibals. Cannibals are scary, right? They'll eat you. They'll do weird stuff to your body. these guys are just soldiers, which isn't scary at all. To me, they're not scary. So, I like fighting them, but there's no real, like, horror. This is just a whatever picture. Looks cool, I guess. Oh yeah, at the very start of the game, you get this brand new armor, and this armor makes the entire game a breeze. It's insane. This new armor is insane. It just makes the whole game. It's easy mode. Once you get this armor, the easy mode gets turned on. The game becomes an actual like breeze. Oh yeah, another thing I want to talk about Arkham Knight. The settings are trash. If you go into the game settings, there's like 3 options. If you go into graphics, there's like 3 options you can change, which is like what? Why is there only like 3? If you go in the settings, there's like 3. And if you go into any other game, it's like 2 pages. 2 or 3 pages of changes you can make. So, I don't know why, but Arkham Knight's settings are just total garbage. More soldiers. I really don't have any, like, thoughts on them. These soldiers are trained to know your weakness, and they never once look up. They never look up once. So, and if they did look up, I would lose. So these guys here who are trained to know my weaknesses, they didn't do a good job of it. I thought the Arkham Knight was good. They did a good job on that. Again, the ending was terrible. The actual fight with Arkham Knight is garbage. He has such a garbage fight. So yeah, just a terrible fight. But I thought he was cool. I thought Arkham Knight was cool. Arkham Knight again. And then you have these tanks. Tanks sound awesome, but they blow up in seconds, which makes them not really a threat. They blow up in like 2 shots. So they were never like a threat. They look cool though, but they were never once like scary. Batman Arkham Knight is just not scary, like at all. Arkham Knight again, I thought he was pretty cool. This is the same picture, but I think this is actually the same picture, but they changed it. Yeah, this is actually the exact same picture, but they did like a flip-flop. That was weird. The car again. The car looks awful in this picture. Now you can actually customize the car. You can change the colors. So I think that's what they should have done here. They should have showed you that the car was customizable. The bad guys. I don't remember her wearing this hat. I don't think that happened. Oh yeah, another problem I have with Arkham Knight is the game is very censored. So this is probably the edgiest game I played, but they don't actually show you the violent parts or the crazy parts. It's all like hinted at, and they never actually show you it. So the amount of censorship in this game is wild. Now I know it's like a comic. I don't think the comics really show you anything violent because they're like comic and like kid friendly. What I'm saying is I think the Batman movies were actually more evil. They would actually show you all the graphic stuff. Another important thing I want to say about the Batman games is I'm pretty sure everyone in this picture is like 50 years old, because there's like a 4-year gap between every game. So there's 4 Batman games, and there's like a 4-year gap. So when you first fight Harley Quinn, she's like 20. The second time you fight Harley Quinn, she's like 30. So I think by the time you get to Arkham Knight, she's like 50. So she looks pretty young. I'm almost positive she's like 50 in this game. Penguin has to be like 60 or 70 or something. He's like 70 years old. All these guys are like super old, is what I'm trying to say. The car again. Again, I really don't have any like feelings about the car. I really don't. It's kind of a nothing car. And I'll just go ahead and say this. These people down here, it's rated M, but really it's rated like E. There's like no blood, and there's a tiny bit of blood. There's like a drop of blood in the game. Language, I don't remember them swearing like at all. Maybe they do say nasty stuff, but I don't think they swear ever. Suggestive themes, I'll give them a pass. They talk about very edgy, gruesome things, but they never actually show it. And violence, the violence was actually very cartoonish. You would like break a guy. Okay. So the violence is actually extremely cartoonish. So you would break a guy's arm, and he would just go flying like 10 feet. So to me, the violence is kind of a joke. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and say this. WB Games made both the Lord of the Ring series, and they also made the Mad Max game. And I think both of those games, Mad Max and the Lord of the Ring games, are just better. Lord of the Rings 2 has a online where you can kill other players and kill online orcs, and that was fantastic. I thought that was a great idea. That was super fun. This game, you can download like extra maps, and the maps are actually extremely well done. The fan maps are really good. So anyways, what would I recommend? I would actually recommend, if you want to have fun, you should buy this game. Probably just skip the story mode. The story mode is too easy. So what would I do with this game is I would buy it, go into the fan-made content, and just do that. I think the fan-made content is actually better than the studio content. That's really how I feel. I feel like the fan-made stuff is better than what's actually in the game. And that's basically my review for Arkham Knight. It was very anticlimactic, and I just was not a huge fan of it. The DLC is also a pretty big letdown. I have like 20 DLCs, and they're all trash. I'll still play the DLCs, but I really do think the DLCs are trash. But yeah, this game was just a total letdown. And I don't even know. The thing is it's Batman. How do you get Batman wrong? I think that's very difficult. I think it's very difficult to get Batman wrong. So this really does feel like a giant letdown. And I think I'll end the review there. I know I've been rambling. This really did turn into a rant. I've been rambling on for a while. I do think this is probably the worst Batman game, but it also has the most like activities. So I would say it's mindless fun. If you want mindless fun, this is a good choice. But yeah. Anyways, and Two-Face, I don't know why, but Two-Face was so hard to take down. He was actually like the hardest boss in the game. Two-Face was way harder than any other boss in the game. Same thing in Arkham City. I don't know why, but Two-Face was like impossible to take out in Arkham City. Like actually impossible. So yeah, I don't know why, but Two-Face was the hardest fight for me. Anyways, that's my 2 cents. I don't know how many people will watch this. That's my 2 cents on the review. I think you should get it, but I think the fan-made stuff is just better. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you next one. Bye.